Good morning all of you. Myself Prem Divani. I'm going to teach your economics for the 12th standard and we are going to start with a subject that is economics in chapter number 7, that is population. You are all aware about the population, that in economics if you are studying about the things, population is again playing a major role in our economy. Whatever problem is again occurring in the entire economy, as you can see, the problem like inflation, the problem like unemployment, the problem like poverty, the problem like recession, these are all the problems which are again co-connected with the population. So population is one of the major problem which is again being seen in our Indian economy, and just because of that our Indian economy is not getting that much developed as we wanted the economy to get developed with. Let us begin the chapter. Let us again discuss about the reasons. What are the reasons for the high population growth rate in India and what is the meaning of the birth rate? How the birth rate is again increasing in our India and what are the factors affecting the birth rate. Let us begin the chapter. Let us see what is given. Here we are talking about again a birth rate. But birth rate means what? The birth rate depicts the number of the children born for every 1,000 people during the given year. It means how many people are getting born in every year out of the 1,000 people in the given year. And exactly the formula is also given. Birth rate is equal to the number of the live births during a given year divided by total population into 1,000. When we are again having a live births during a given year in accordance of the 1,000, then we are dividing that thing with the total population. We are getting the birth rate. And if you want to see, you can again have a figures also that in 1951 the birth rate was 39.9% and it went down from in 2011 to 1.8%. It might be again you having a question in your mind that birth rate is again decreasing. Then too also why the population is getting increasing. The another reason of the increment of the population is what? We are having a death ratio very low. Birth ratio is again decreasing, but death ratio is not decreasing. Day by day we can say the people who are going to get death, they are just getting alive. Just because of the science and technology, just because of the somewhat reasons of the famine. So these are all the reasons why the people who are going to get die in the near future, they are not getting die and just they are continuing their life. So here are again the causes of the high birth rate. There are three factors which are affecting to the high birth rate. The first one is a social factor, second one is economic factor, another one is the others. So discussing about the factors affecting the birth rate, the first one is again a universality of the marriage. You are all aware about our Indian economy. Our Indian economy is again having somewhat of norms, somewhat of principles as we are living in the economy. So the people who are unmarried in the economy, whether it's a male or whether it's a female, is again looked in a very, you can say, perspective manner, which is again very much again a doomed point of our economy. And that is the reason why whatever person is again taking a born in India, they have to again get married. And as you people know, once a person is getting married, the another reason but the person is having a life to grow with is the population. So the first reason of our Indian economy is the universality of the marriage. Any of the male or any of the female, they had to get married at a particular age. And after getting married, they are just focusing on the life of them and again they are focusing on the population. So that is the reason why we are watching out how much increment in the population in our economy. If we are talking about the universality of the marriage, we are not keeping again the physical people also get aloof out of this pattern. Whatever physical disabilities they are having, they are also being asked to get married soon as possible. Another reason is early marriage and the widow remarriage. If you are talking about the early marriage, our Indian economy is again following the tradition of the, you can say, child marriages. You might be knowing about again before 1947, when Britishers were there in India, there was again a system and there was again a pattern to get the child to get married at the particular age. So this pattern was again going on from that tradition. And in today's day also, if you go in a Bihar, you will be watching a number of a child who are getting married at the particular age they are not supposed to get married. So this is again another reason why we can say if the person is getting married, if the female is getting married earlier, her fertility ratio gets increases. Now what is the meaning of the fertility ratio? Fertility rate means what? She is capable to give a birth to a child. Any of the female is again capable to give a birth of a child from 14 years to 45 years. So if she is getting married earlier, she is having a higher fertility rate. And if she is having a higher fertility rate, as you all know, number of her children will be taking a place in that family. So this is another reason why we can say our economy is overpopulated. Third one is the widow remarriages. Widow remarriages also, you guys know about this thing. William Banting was there, again he prevented this thing, and he asked the widows to get again remarry her life. And once she is again getting remarried, whether it's a male or whether it's a female, if they have a child from the first one of the spouse, then ultimately after getting married they are going to have another child too, which will again increase our population. And again this is also a major reason of our Indian economy. Third one is a preference for the male child. As you all aware about this thing, okay, our Indian people are again our male dominated people. Male dominated people, what are the reasons behind it? There are three reasons that are being prevailing in our economy. The first one is a procreation. Procreation means what? They just want their family to be getting generation after generation to have a male in the family. If the male in the family is there, then and then only they will be having a generation after generation. So the first reason is a procreation. Second reason, they are thinking about it, a male child will be helping to the family members or will be helping to their parents at the old age. And the third reason is that they are having this mentality, those who have taken a born, and if the male is taken a born in the family, the parents don't have to go to the poo. That poo is termed as a hell. They will be going in the heaven. Such a kind of ideologies are again making the person to get focus on the male child rather than that to the female child. Ultimately, when the male is not coming in the family, the birth ratio of the female increases in the family, and which will increase the population of our country. Next reason is a joint family system. As you all know about this thing, Indian is termed as a traditional oriented joint families. We are watching out in our India, and in a joint family we are watching out the number of a population in it. So what happens in generally in the joint family, if you are living together, you have been asked to get a number of a childs more and more, because the responsibility of upgrading the child is not coming on the parent, but it is coming on the entire family. And that is the reason why we are watching out in a joint family, number of children are there who are suffering after getting divided. So this is again a basic and a major problem of our economy. Second one factor are the economic factors. In economic factors, it is included the lower level of education, low level of income, and high infant mortality rate. Low level of education means what? If we are watching out, education plays a very important role in giving the population or increasing the birth ratio. If the female is less educated, she don't have an idea that she is giving a more number of a birth a child. So if she is getting more educated, there will be again a less ratio of the child in that family. So higher the education, less will be the population, less will be the education, higher will be the population. That is again an inverse relationship between the education and the birth rate. So education plays a vital role in creating the population. Next reason is a low level of income. Number of farmers are having the ideology in their mind. Higher the population, higher the number of the children, higher will be the income in the near future. But they are not aware about the upbringing of the child from the beginning part. So they are just giving a birth again and again, again and again. They are not keeping a break in between giving the birth to the child. There is again a proverb in a textbook given to you people, more the merriers. More the merriers means what? How many number of people are added, and they are adding the income of the family. This kind of ideology is again there in the village area, especially towards to the farmers, and that is the reason they are thinking to give a more number of a child birth. They think to give a work to someone else in the farm area, it's rather better that to give the work towards their own child. But they are not keeping the future planning of that child, whether the farm is going to have a farming or not, agriculture is going to perform very nicely or not. They are just giving a birth accordingly, according to their need. The next reason is the infant mortality rate. Now first of all, let me just clarify you the meaning of the infant mortality. Infant mortality means what? How many number of children die before completion of a 1 year out of the 1,000 children born in a year. As you guys are all aware about this thing, India is day by day getting developing. It's again a fastest developing country in the entire world. So that is the reason we are having a number of science and technologies, a number of medical researches we are getting day by day. We are upgrading ourselves, and that is the reason first of all number of children were dying before completion of a 1 year. If you go to search about the ratios of it, you will be finding out the ratio in 1951 when 46 children were getting died out of 1,000 children born in a year before completion of a 1 year. Now the ratio is totally different. Only 49 or 50, approx 50 or 49 children are getting died out of 1,000 before completion of a 1 year. So ultimately, if the 100 children are getting added, the 100 children are getting added in the economy. And ultimately what happens? The population get increases. So high infant mortality rate is also become the reason for increment in the population in our country. The next reason is the others. In others, they are including the high fertility rate and the lack of the family planning. Talking about the high fertility rate, as I said in a before part also, that female is having a capability to give the birth to a child from the age group of 14 to 45. Now if she is getting married earlier, she is having a higher fertility rate. And if she is getting married later on, she is having a less fertility rate. So fertility rate plays a very major role in our Indian economy. So we should start raising the age of the marriage. Asking the female to get married at years of the 18, we should ask a female to get married at the age of 21. Or later on, 21, 23. Ultimately the fertility ratio decreases. If the fertility rate decreases, the number of a less child will be taking born in that particular family, and which will again decrease in the population of India. But as we are talking about the India is again a overpopulated country, and no one is again thinking about the fertility periods of the female, and again she is getting married earlier. And just because of getting married earlier, you will be finding out the families to have a number of higher populations in it. The last and the foremost reason is the lack of the family planning. As we are talking about the India is again not having a family planning in it. Now what is the meaning of the family planning? There should be a gap between the two children. In India, we are watching out this thing. One child is again being taken a birth in this particular year, another child is taking a birth either after this year or after the next to this year. So that is the reason why we are suffering with the overpopulation. What should be the family planning? There should be gap of at least 5 to 8 years between the two children. Higher the gap, higher will be again the mentality of the people to get upgrade to their children. But here in our India, we don't have such a kind of a family planning. So that is again a necessity to have a family planning. If we don't have a family planning, ultimately the population is getting increases. You can go and you can check out your own families also. They might be not having a family planning. That is the reason why the population is overburdened in India. We are coming on the second place right now in the population in India. And the day is not far, will be termed as the most populous country of the entire world. So this was only the scenario of the causes of the high birth rate. So if any kind of things are being